What if I told you that you can carry within you a dormant force, an invisible ancient energy, capable of transforming not only your life, but also influencing the destiny of those around you? Can you imagine waking up one day and feeling, almost like an irresistible call, that there's something much bigger waiting for you? And what's more, that this awakening isn't just the privilege of mythical figures or great sages, but of seemingly ordinary people like you and me. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to access more stories like this. Now, before anything else, if you've ever felt an inexplicable intuition, a different energy, or that feeling that there's something bigger guiding you, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share in the comments. Do you believe people can be born with special gifts? Your opinion can inspire and impact thousands here. Let's create a community of seekers together, of people who want to go beyond the superficial. Ready? Because today you're going to dive into an almost forbidden secret that only a few have dared to explore. Get ready to discover which zodiac signs, according to Edgar Cayce's readings, known as the sleeping prophet, carry the so-called spiritual genetics, latent powers, hidden talents, true invitations to a new level of consciousness. But be aware, these abilities usually emerge at the most unexpected times, almost always after major crises, losses, visions, or experiences of profound transformation. Are you ready to discover what's hidden behind the everyday veil? Just imagine, as you watch this video, thousands of people around the world feel they're experiencing something out of the ordinary. However, they ignore it, minimize it, or worse, believe they are alone on their journey. What if I show you a truth that can not only explain these phenomena, but also direct you toward your true purpose? Stay with me until the end, because your story might change starting now. There's a very special group story hidden beneath the layers of routine. People who apparently are ordinary. They walk down the street, work, study, have families, but inside them there's a silent fire, a calling, a feeling that they don't belong to this world in the same way others do. Have you ever felt different? Have you ever experienced that feeling of being one step ahead in perceptions, dreams, or sensations you can't explain? These people are like guardians of an ancient secret. They are the carriers of spiritual genetics, a term that doesn't appear in any scientific manual, but that crosses generations, cultures, and hidden traditions. According to Cayce, each of the 12 zodiac signs carries its own energetic signature, but only some truly carry the potential for radical transformations, gifts ranging from healing to seeing the invisible, from absolute intuition to the power of manifesting realities. Few people understand what it truly means to possess a spiritual ability. It's not about doing magic like in a Hollywood movie, but about accessing states of consciousness where the perception of time, emotions, and even others' thoughts expands, widens, deepens. It's that intense déjà vu feeling of being able to sense what will happen, of picking up emotions in the air, of perceiving presences and energies that no one else does. And what's more, there's a kind of key to activate these gifts, and the secret lies in boundary-pushing experiences, those that change life forever. Losses, unexpected encounters, great loves, accidents, moments of crisis, or even very vivid dreams can be the trigger for a transforming awakening. Pay attention, because soon I'm going to reveal how you can identify these marks in yourself. But first, let's look at the origin of this phenomenon. For many, talking about hidden powers sounds like fiction, superstition, or pure invention. But what if I told you that, throughout history, there have been men and women who claimed to see beyond matter? Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, was perhaps the greatest of them. Born in the early 20th century in the United States, Cayce was an ordinary man, soft-spoken, with deep eyes. He worked as a photographer, salesman, teacher, until, after a dramatic episode of illness, he realized that, in a trance state, he could access impossible information. Medical diagnoses, records of past lives, details about the future, and especially the mysteries of the human soul. And don't think Cayce lived isolated in his madness. Hundreds of doctors and scholars, some skeptical, others fascinated, witnessed his sessions. He answered questions without even knowing who was in front of him, diagnosed illnesses without exams, described traumas, revealed the spiritual origin of people's problems. His archives today total thousands of pages, studied by researchers worldwide. It was by analyzing thousands of readings that Cayce noticed a curious pattern. Certain zodiac signs repeatedly appeared linked to accounts of extraordinary abilities, not just personality traits, but true ignition points for spiritual gifts. Many of the people who sought Cayce were searching for meaning, for healing, for a connection to something greater. He identified that natives of Cancer, Gemini, Pisces, and Capricorn more frequently manifested symptoms or reports of metaphysical experiences. If you think all this is just an anecdote, consider, in ancient cultures, priests, shamans, and initiates, almost always linked to specific lineages, were those capable of dealing with phenomena unexplained by common science. Even modern physics, with its studies on consciousness, morphogenetic fields, and quantum entanglement, begins to suggest that reality is much more complex than we imagined. Is it really a coincidence that certain people, born under certain signs, feel they came from another place, have a mission, or experience gifts never learned in books? The accounts are countless, even today. People who, after a big scare, start seeing others' aura, children who describe past lives in detail, adults who, in the midst of pain, discover gifts of healing, visions, prophetic dreams. All of this is documented, including in scientific databases on near-death experiences and parapsychological phenomena. When Cayce spoke of spiritual genetics, he was talking about something that transcends physical DNA, an invisible code, inherited by souls on their journey, capable of activating extraordinary talents when the time is right. Do you doubt it? Think, how many times have you witnessed something that defies logic but makes sense to your heart? Now we get to the key point. Who are, after all, the carriers of this spiritual genetics? Among the 12 signs, 4 stand out as true archetypes of hidden gifts. Cancer, Gemini, Pisces, and Capricorn, each of them carries, according to Cayce, a unique spiritual technology, a powerful invisible heritage, and at the same time, full of challenges. Cancer, the guardian of deep emotions, carries the gift of extreme empathy and self-healing. Gemini, the messenger, manifests abilities of channeling, communication with the invisible, and psychic gifts linked to the sacred word. Pisces, the visionary, is the sign of prophetic dreams, mystical experiences, almost supernatural intuition. Capricorn, the master of the earth, carries the power to manifest realities, to transform subtle energy into concrete action, to lead the collective to a new level. But be aware, this division has nothing to do with superiority or privilege. In fact, each of these signs also faces enormous challenges to accept, balance, and manifest their gifts. And the most interesting thing? You might not be of the solar sign, but possess these traits in your astrological chart: ascendant, moon, or main planets. In other words, this spiritual genetics can be latent in all of us, just waiting for the right moment to flourish. I'll now give a brief teaser of each archetype, so you can see if you identify and, of course, spark your curiosity about what's to come. Cancer. Do you feel the world's pains as if they were your own? Do you notice energy shifts in environments and have an easy time healing, either physically or emotionally? Perhaps you're from the lineage of guardians. Gemini. Do words come to you at the right time? Do you easily pick up messages in dreams, or feel that strange thoughts don't seem like yours? You might be a messenger of the invisible. Pisces. Vivid dreams, constant déjà vu sensations, premonitions, and detachment from reality? Visionaries are masters at traveling between worlds. Capricorn. Do you have an unusual ability to make the impossible real, attract opportunities, and shape destiny by force of will? You might be one of the rare manifestors. If so far any of these descriptions has made your heart race, share in the comments. I feel like I'm part of this lineage. Are you curious to know the details of each archetype's gifts? Then stay with me, because in the next topics we're going to dive deep into each of these signs, exploring real stories, challenges, and most importantly, the paths to awakening the potential that perhaps is dormant within you. If this content is already messing with your ideas, don't waste time. Show your interest. Like, comment, send it to that friend who's going through a transformation. Here, your experience is validated, and the more people participate, the stronger our egregore of seeking and evolution will be. It's time to pull back the veil of superficiality. Let's dive into the hidden essence of each of these 4 signs, bringing to light talents that often go unnoticed. not because they don't exist, but because they are ignored or even suppressed, either out of fear of judgment or lack of space for the extraordinary in our hurried daily lives. Imagine a child who deeply feels the sadness of those nearby, who cries when seeing someone suffer, even without understanding why. Cancer is the sign that carries the gift of absorbing and transmuting emotions. Its energetic field, according to Cayce, functions as a kind of spiritual sponge. It perceives feelings even before they are spoken, captures the vibrations of the environment, anticipates moods and atmospheres. It's not uncommon for Cancer natives to feel physical pains without apparent origin, pains that, in reality, belong to the people in their lives. But the gift doesn't stop there. Many accounts speak of Cancer natives who, after traumatic events, develop healing abilities, whether by laying on hands, by words, or simple presence. The environment transforms when they enter. There are cases of animals and even plants that revive around them. But of course, this power demands sacrifices. The price of extreme empathy is often the difficulty in setting boundaries, the risk of psychosomatic illnesses, a sense of loneliness, and emotional exhaustion. Clara's story, for example, illustrates this archetype. At 8 years old, she lost her father suddenly. In the following months, she realized she could feel what others were going through, even without eye contact. She grew up hearing she was too sensitive, but in her youth, her gift revealed itself as a strength. She became a therapist, helping people in grief. Clara is not an isolated exception. Have you also felt this calling? Now imagine someone who speaks, writes, communicates with ease, but who at times feels their words come from somewhere else. Gemini is the sign of invisible bridges. For Cayce, Geminis have an extraordinary ability to access non-physical dimensions. It's no wonder many find themselves in professions related to communication, teaching, or spirituality. Cases of Geminis who, during dreams or meditations, receive messages, innovative ideas, or even surprising information about the future are quite common. There are reports of people who, after near-death experiences or emotional shocks, begin to live a kind of psychic synchronicity. They speak what others are thinking, complete others' sentences, feel guided by inner voices. The challenge? Knowing how to discern between one's own mind and the voices of the invisible. The gift of channeling is a double-edged sword. It brings deep inspiration and understanding, but it can also lead to confusion, anxiety, and in extreme cases, mental overload. If you've ever met someone who daydreams, who has memories of lives they never lived, who foresees disasters or unexplained joys, perhaps you've encountered an awakened Pisces. Pisces is the sign of fluid boundaries. As an archetype, Pisces is one who walks between worlds, physical and spiritual, dream and reality. It's not uncommon for Pisceans to experience lucid dreams, intense déjà vu episodes, and even visions, images of places, people, or events that later turn out to be true. Lucas's story is emblematic. Since childhood, he had such real nightmares that he woke up exhausted. His family thought it was a fertile imagination, but at 17, after a near-death experience, he began working as an intuitive medium, helping people decipher spiritual signs. The gift of Pisces, however, comes with an even greater risk, the tendency to escape, to excessive isolation, the risk of addictions, and the difficulty in distinguishing illusion from truth. The secret lies in balance, something that's not always easy to achieve. Finally, we enter the realm of the impossible builders. Capricorn, for Cayce, is the archetype of those who materialize dreams. It's not enough to intuit, see, or feel. Capricorns have a rare ability to transform inspiration into action, energy into matter. They are the modern alchemists who sometimes start from scratch to, after much persistence, create previously unimaginable realities. Cases of people who, after losses or almost insurmountable obstacles, manage to rebuild empires, build impactful projects, or change the course of a community are remarkable. The gift of Capricorn resembles that of the silent hero, one who transforms suffering into fuel for growth. Their biggest challenge, the weight of responsibility, rigidity, fear of failure, and often the feeling of carrying the world on their shoulders, almost always without anyone noticing. Now that you know the heart of each archetype, tell us, have you noticed these gifts in yourself or someone close? Share your story. Each testimony helps us recognize that the extraordinary can be much closer than we imagine. Perhaps you're wondering, But is this really real? Or is it all just coincidence, impression, a desire to be special? Skepticism is natural. But what if I told you that the journey of spiritual awakening begins precisely by recognizing and validating these uncommon experiences as legitimate signs of an inner power? Let's be frank. Since we were little, we've been taught to ignore what doesn't fit the norm. Visions, premonitions, intuitions, inexplicable feelings, everything becomes fantasy or madness when there's no space for mystery. How many times have you said or heard phrases like, "It's all in your head," "You're too sensitive," "Those dreams mean nothing"? What if we were wrong? Hundreds, perhaps thousands of people feel isolated by experiencing similar things. That's why I decided to share stories that can make you feel less alone, and who knows, help normalize the recognition of your own gifts. A study conducted by the University of Virginia, for example, analyzed reports of precognitive experiences worldwide. More than half of the participants described at least one situation where they predicted an important event without any logical explanation, from premonitions of accidents to feelings that something big was about to happen. The most intriguing thing? The cases were concentrated in people with astrological profiles of Cancer, Gemini, Pisces, and Capricorn. Another survey, done with holistic therapists, showed that many professionals report having experienced activation of gifts after situations of extreme crisis, losses, serious illnesses, profound life changes. In all cases, the turning point came after the recognition, yes, this happened to me. It's not madness, it's not coincidence, it's part of who I am. And you? Have you ever had an experience that marked you and to this day defies any rational explanation? Do you feel that within you there's a force waiting to be recognized? Leave it in the comments, truly. Your testimony can be the spark that inspires others to come out of the shadow of fear into the light of acceptance. Remember, recognizing the extraordinary in your own story is like taking the first step towards the hero's journey. There is no awakening without identification. There is no overcoming without validating your feelings. We've reached a crucial point. The awakening of these abilities isn't a fairy tale. If, so far, everything seems mysterious and powerful, it's time to shed light on the shadows of the process. After all, behind every gift, there's a series of challenges that often no one sees or doesn't want to see. Imagine living in a world where almost no one understands you, feeling pains and emotions that aren't yours, seeing beyond the obvious and, when trying to share, being labeled as sensitive, crazy, or even dangerous. Many people, upon awakening their gifts, face social isolation. Some lose friends, others family relationships. It's common to experience deep doubts. Am I losing my mind? Should I really trust this inner calling? Have you ever felt tingling for no reason, sudden mood swings upon entering different environments, dreams so real they impact your day? Sensations of warmth, goosebumps, heightened hearing, flashes of images or thoughts that don't seem like yours? These symptoms are very common among those going through the process of spiritual activation. Many even seek doctors but find no organic explanation. Others close themselves off in an attempt to silence their own sensitivity, but denying the gift only intensifies the suffering. Fear is the biggest obstacle. Fear of being rejected, of not fitting in, of not being able to handle it. And it's not uncommon to find people who give up halfway for lack of support, understanding, or references to move forward. And the temptations to escape, each archetype presents its own. Cancerians flee into isolation. Geminis immerse themselves in intellectualization and disconnect from feeling. Pisceans may seek relief in addictions, while Capricorns may cling to excessive control and productivity to stifle existential anguish. But here's the secret few tell. These challenges are, in fact, invitations to a deep journey of self-knowledge. They are the setting for your dark night of the soul, the hero's test before realization. Only those who cross the pains of awakening can later act in the world with wisdom, compassion, and real power. It takes courage, and no one has to go through this alone. That's why, now more than ever, I extend an invitation. Like, share, subscribe here, activate the bell. Let's build together a community of support, encouragement, and mutual learning. The more people know they're not alone, the easier it will be for everyone to cross the desert of awakening and reach the oasis of purpose. And you? Do you have the courage to look within, accept your shadows, and awaken your gifts? The journey is arduous, but the calling persists. The next step depends on you. Now, perhaps you're asking yourself, okay, I understand that these gifts exist and that awakening isn't easy, but how, after all, do I develop them? How do I transform potential into reality? How do I know if it's really for me? This is the stage where the journey, which might seem solitary, finds the path to solutions, practices, and activation rituals. The awakening of so-called spiritual genetics doesn't usually happen by chance. It requires attention, conscious choice, and, most importantly, a willingness to look inward and act in the world in a new way. And unlike what many think, you don't need a secret initiation or a distant guru. What's actually needed is mindful attention to daily life and a commitment to self-knowledge. But what are the practical keys specific to each archetype? Let's uncover them now. Cancerians need to learn to cleanse their own emotions and set energetic boundaries. A powerful practice is the cleansing bath. It can be with coarse salt, herbs, or simply running water after an intense day. Guided meditations for releasing emotional ties are also essential, as are activities that involve caring for others, but without self-sacrifice. The secret to development lies in transforming empathy into active compassion, helping without absorbing, embracing without losing yourself. Geminis benefit from practices involving word and deep listening. Automatic writing, taking paper and pen, asking questions, and letting answers flow without censorship is one of the oldest and most powerful channeling tools. Reading sacred or inspiring texts aloud also helps align communication energy with the spiritual plane. And more, keeping a dream and synchronicity journal can reveal hidden patterns and messages. Pisceans have dreams as their most accessible portal. Practices for inducing lucid dreams, such as writing intentions before bed and keeping a notebook by the bed to jot down everything upon waking, can accelerate the gift's activation. Creative meditations, where you imagine visiting temples, gardens, or sacred places, strengthen the connection with the invisible world. Pisces needs to learn to trust what they feel, but also to keep one foot on the ground, always seeking balance between inspiration and action. Capricorns strengthen themselves in daily doing. Transforming small tasks into rituals, like preparing breakfast with full attention, or planning the day by visualizing goals already achieved, is one of the most powerful keys. Creative visualization techniques, where you imagine, with all details, the desired outcome already realized, help translate energy into reality. It's important, however, for Capricorn to learn to let go of control and understand that divine timing isn't always ego timing. These are, of course, just initial suggestions. The most important thing is to listen to your own intuition. As you allow yourself to experiment, the signs of awakening increase. Coincidences, destined encounters, increasingly vivid dreams, feelings of being on the right path, even amidst challenges. And if you want to receive more practical tips, techniques, and transformative stories, subscribe to the channel now and activate the notification bell. A lot of deep and transformative things are coming. Imagine for a moment a world where everyone accesses their highest potential. Imagine hospitals, schools, businesses, and families led by people aware of their own spiritual gifts, using them to serve, inspire, and heal. What would happen if Cancer's compassion, Gemini's communication, Pisces' dream, and Capricorn's power of realization were together in action, side by side, combining talents in a great network of collective awakening? This isn't a distant dream. Ancient prophecies spoke of a new era, when humanity would be called to awaken not only individually, but as a group. We are living in that time now. With every global crisis, every social transformation, the opportunity arises to ask, what did I come here to do? And how can I serve with what is most unique about me? The call of the future is this: use your gifts not just for yourself, but to positively impact the collective journey. You know that feeling of mission, of not belonging to the old world, of wanting to build something greater? It's not an accident, it's an invitation. And here, I make a direct call to you. Don't wait any longer. Don't minimize your intuition, don't doubt the signs, don't postpone your awakening. Seek self-knowledge, practice the keys of your archetype, share your experiences, and help create a current of transformation. If everyone embraces their gift, not only does our society change, but a new era can indeed be born from our generation. How many of you feel this calling is personal, almost a secret summons? Put in the comments here, "I accept my path," and tell us how you intend to use your gift from now on. Your words inspire and liberate others. We've reached the end of this journey, but the truth is, this is just the beginning of a new path for many of us. Throughout this video, we've talked about hidden gifts, spiritual genetics, and challenges and triumphs. Perhaps while listening to these stories, you felt your heart race, or tears came for no apparent reason. These are signs that the content resonated deeply, that some aspect of you is ready to emerge. And here's the big revelation. All of us, without exception, have something unique to offer the world. It doesn't matter your sign, your history, your origin. The universe works through differences, and every gift, when accepted and cultivated, becomes a fundamental piece in collective evolution. The universal search for purpose is, in fact, the search for one's own gift, one that, when shared, makes us feel part of something bigger. Before finishing, I invite you to a deep reflection. What if you are one of these chosen ones? What if everything you've lived until now was preparation for, now, taking on your true role in the world? It's easy to doubt, difficult to take the first step. But remember, the strength of community, dialogue, and mutual support can be the impulse you needed for your leap of faith. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to access more stories like this. Leave a word in the comments that represents your calling. It can be courage, healing, manifestation, communication, or the one only you know. Share this video with whoever needs to hear these messages. Subscribe to the channel because this journey doesn't end here. Together, we will continue exploring mysteries, gifts, and paths of evolution. Are you ready? Then embrace your gifts, walk with purpose, and always remember, there's something much bigger waiting for you. May your awakening be light for the world. If you need adjustments or want an even more detailed closing, just ask.